and welcome to Snetterton. Coming up later, we've got action from the final round of the Lotus Cup UK. But first, we're here on the grid for the first race of the Elise Trophy.
And it promises to be a very entertaining one in very tricky conditions on the Snetterton 300 circuit, with Andrew Bentley lining up in pole position alongside him. A superb qualifying from John Lemaster, and then Ken Savage and Ben Hyland on row 2. Fifth on the grid, Craig Demon in a new car this weekend. He's upgraded to the S2, and also very strong in qualifying from Simon Oakley, who's there in 15th, although he won't be needing sunglasses to Oakley because it is very overcast and damp. 26 cars on the grid. Welcome back to Gisela and P. Ketveld, who we saw earlier on in the season at Brands Hatch, with the grid being formed. Now the red light's on, and who's going to get the jump from the line? Away we go. There's a good getaway from Andrew Bentley in the white car from pole position. The green machine of John Lemaster also looks to go away strongly as they accelerate on towards Riches for the first time, though. It's Andrew Bentley who turns into the early lead, although Lemaster pressurising him. Then it's Craig Demon who's come up to third. A super start from Demon. Ken Savage in the bright yellow car is in fourth. And then we've got Stuart Rowland trying to squeeze through, as well as they all sprint towards the Montreal hairpin for the first time. Craig Demon runs a little bit wide. There's Rowland just inside Ben Hyland in the red number 16 car. They all seem to have cleanly got through, though, in these early stages, and already Andrew Bentley looking to try and move away from John Lemaster and Craig Demon. Then we've got Savage in fourth, who always goes well here at Snetterton. And the Knight just slithers wide through Palmer as the rest of the field accelerates on towards Actually, there's Simon Oakley in the bright blue number 54 car. He's on the tail of Seth Walpole in the blue 12 machine. As Andrew Bentley accelerates on towards Hamilton and turning through quick left-hander before he hits the double right of Oggies and Williams. A little bit further back down the order, it's Nigel Ayres, car 4, heading up a nice little scrap as Walpole makes the move to the inside of Paul Baker. Baker in the essentially cow livery car, the black and white number 63 car. And he has got Walpole all over his tail. And the pair of them trying to get onto terms with Neil Stotter. Neil, who often gets quicker as the race progresses, so we can expect to see him climbing up through the order as we go on. That is the blue car with the white stripes. Always frantic fighting in the midfield in these Lotus on track and these trophy races. And that's exactly what we've got here as Andrew Bentley squirms on the brakes into the braking zone for Brundle and Nelson, as Denman comes under a little bit of pressure from Ken Savage, surprised that Stuart Rowland isn't actually staying a little bit closer to them, because Rowland often goes very quickly here as we have a glimpse of Jose Palazon. That is the bright orange 23 machine he has got, though, all over his tail, Nigel Ayres. And Nigel's had a superb season, actually. He really has been getting faster and faster as the years gone by, although he's being challenged by Neil Stoddart through the bomb hole here. The round the outside, keeping his line, is Nigel Ayres, who has moved from being a driver who's normally fighting for a top 20 place to a driver fighting for a spot in the top 10. Coming through to complete that, though, Andrew Bentley already putting a lot of daylight between himself and John Lemaster. Then we've got the battle between Craig Devlin and Ken Savage, third and fourth, and this very nice three-way scrap headed by Stuart Rowland from Adam Knight and Ben Hyland before the tussle headed by Jose Palazon. But now the challenge is going to be for John Lemaster to try and maintain that gap, both to Andrew Bentley and also to Craig Denman and Ken Savage. For Denman in that black 92 car, what he really wants to do here is not fight with Ken Savage. He needs Ken just to sit in behind him, and the pair of them work their way onto the tail of John Lemaster, making their fight for third, one for second, and then maybe they may both get a podium out of this race. Well, Craig Denman and Ken Savage, both of them multiple race winners in the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy in seasons gone by. And Ken, particularly 2011, had an absolutely stunning season. He's not been quite as quick this year, Ken, but he always goes well here at Snetterton. It's a circuit that really seems to click with his driving style. So the pair of them accelerating out of Palmer on towards Agostini. And Craig Denman will be relishing the Elise S2 in this race, because the S1, which is the car you see most of the drivers in this particular scrap pedaling. There you've got Seth Walpole, he's just ahead of Mark Yates and Paul Baker. The S1 a little bit lighter, and in dry weather it's ideal. The S2 is a heavier car, but it has ABS braking, and in these damp conditions it just gives them extra traction and stability, which is what these drivers will be really looking for, as Yates attempts to get onto tail with Walpole. And there we've got Warren Scott now, who is climbing up into the mix. And Warren Scott, in his first year of racing, he's been a podium finisher several times this year, but maybe these damp conditions just little bit tricky for him because we haven't actually had that many wet races in the 2012 Lotus season. There's wipers on full chat there from Ken Savage in behind Craig Demmer, but these are far from ideal conditions because it's not really fully wet. The track is very damp, very greasy, but the rain isn't pouring down to give it a full wet feel, so the drivers can be lulled into feel they can push a little bit harder than they actually can. So we see a challenge there further back, the 33 car, that's Martin Wills swarming all over the tail, and in fact running out of road. So he's trying to move ahead of Paul Baker, and then attempts to rejoin over the grass, and that's bizarre there from Martin Wills, given there's a nice big escape road there, which would have fed him back probably a little bit further up the order. He's actually joined in, so he comes back on track behind Warren Scott. He's got all that work to do once more, as he is firmly ensconced in this scrap. It's about 7th or 8th place that they're all fighting for, and it really is a lovely tussle. Neil Stoddart, though, has moved himself up to the fore of this fight. He's got then Nigel Ayres on his tail, with Paul Baker showing very strongly too in hot pursuit. Just behind it, then we've got Jose Palazon, who's slipping back a little bit, with Seth Walpole, Mark Yates, Warren Scott, and then Martin Wills. In second place, though, John Lemaster has been caught here by Craig Denman, and this is what we wondered might happen, and Craig Denman is now lining up Lemaster for that move, maybe to challenge for second position. Andrew Bentley, of course, leads the race all the while and leads it fairly comfortably as they arrive into Williams. Now, can Denman get that run along the Bentley straight? That is what he really will need to do to maybe challenge on the brakes into Brundle and Nelson, both of them in the S2. So they're going to have fairly equal braking potential here, and Denman, does he duck out from behind Lemaster? He does. Oh, that's absolutely beautiful from Craig Denman. Can he pull it off? Not quite. Lemaster swoops through and takes the line. He'll now look for the switchback on the exit of Nelson as Lemaster slithers a little bit wide off onto the curb, and Denman draws alongside the pair of them, sprinting towards the bomb hole and taking the inside line. It's Craig Denman. He goes through into second position, and that is lovely tactical driving from Craig Denman, even if he has a big slide as he finishes the move off, because he set them up several corners before he eventually got through. And now that Denman's in second, he's going to try and sprint clear of John Lemaster, who's coming under all sorts of pressure from Ken Savage in that bright yellow number 1 car. So the 3-car tussle for second. Exits Murray's, accelerates onto the centre straight, and Ken Savage could well fancy his chances here of squeezing through past John Lemaster as they arrive into Riches, and it's Savage to the inside line, Lemaster to the outside. They hit the brakes, turn through, and Lemaster goes around. He loses the rear of the car and has a slow spin into the grass, and that's so disappointing for John Lemaster. He plants his right foot and buries the throttle as he attempts to rejoin the action, and he should be rejoining there in 4th, so all is not completely lost, but a real shame there for John Lemaster as Paul Baker and Warren Scott engage in battle. Both of them in the black and white cars, but Warren Scott, there he is with the black doors and roofs, whereas Paul Baker maybe slightly less symmetrical livery. Neil Stoddart continues on his way as Paul Baker has been demoted by Scott. Scott getting the exit from Murray's and moves through as he continues to move up the order. That is for 8th place, that pass from Warren Scott, as he elevates himself up through the pack. And Ken Savage right back onto the tail of Craig Denman here, but they're beginning to run out of time, and Denman's got a problem through of the car. Something's dragging on the tarmac. You could just see as he turned into Brundle. There again, we see it hanging down from the rear of the car. We'll try and pick up what that is in a moment as he arrives into the bomb hole. Let's get a glimpse of that rear shot. It's the diffuser that's worked itself loose and is grinding away on the Snetterton tarmac. Now that shouldn't be too much of a distraction for him, as out of the final turn comes Andrew Bentley. It's been an imperious performance from Andrew Bentley. He's going to win this race by well over 20 seconds. So it's another victory in the Lotus on Track Elite Trophy in 2012 for Andrew Bentley. But what about second position? Is Craig Denman going to be able to hold on from Ken Savage, and will the car hold together? Yes, it does, but you can hear the metal scraping against the tarmac as Denman accelerates out of Murray's onto the centre straight, up to the checker flag, but he is going to claim a very fine runners-up spot, with Ken Savage completing the podium at the end of what's been a very entertaining race here in very treacherous conditions at Snetterton. And I'm sure the marshals and spectators will give them all a very warm round of applause as they work their way back to the podium. So let's take a check then at the final results, with victory for Andrew Bentley from Craig Denman and Ken Savage. John Lemaster did hold on for 4th out of 9th, completing the top 5 from Ben Highland. Warren Scott climbing up as far as 7th, and Martin Wills completing the top 10. all smiles on the podium as the drivers get their trophies and bubbly after a very hard 20 minutes of racing.
Ken, you've just been out for the first Elise Trophy race. How did you find it with these weather conditions?
The conditions were atrocious. It was very, very slippy, and I think you did well if you made the driver who won made the fewest number of mistakes. Very, very tricky driving.
Right, and you're back out again this afternoon. You feeling hopeful for that race?
Well, you know, it'll be reverse grid in the Elise Trophy this afternoon, so we'll just have to see what comes. I mean, there's some good drivers on the grid. I think it's down, as I said before, it's down to who makes the least mistakes.
Craig, second place, well done. How did you find it today?
Good, yeah, that was the first time we've driven that car. We've never driven an S2 before, so it took a bit of getting used to. But yeah, good race, enjoyed it.
And the weather conditions aren't great today. Are you hopeful for the second race?
I don't mind the wet actually, it's playing to my advantages today, so wet will be fine.
Hi Andrew, congratulations. First place, you've just been out for the Elise Trophy today. How was it?
Thank you very much. It was a really good race. From my point of view, the car was fantastic, and I'm going to give that to Hangar 111 and the boys. They all did an absolutely superb job to give me a car that was very, very easy to drive. Not to say it was an easy race, because it's incredibly slippy out there. I think probably a lot of people came off because every single lap was different. There was loads of mud on the road and stuff, so you never quite knew what you were going to arrive on around the next bend. But head down and just looking at consistent lap times, all that boring kind of racy driver stuff. But it was a really nice thing to kind of get out in the lead and be able to just keep it.